Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you're welcome. Today's video I will be showing you guys on how I made this beautiful cowl shape with open slit. Some people actually love their cowl shape to protrude around the hip area like this. Some call this type of style ear cowl shape. It is actually a subscriber of mine that made me to know that some people call it ear cowl shape because of the way it protrudes around the hip area. For this style, I use 4 yards of Mikado fabric and I mix it with brocade fabric for the design in front and on the sleeve area. So if this is what you would love to learn how to make, please sit back, relax and enjoy the tutorial. I bought 4 yards of Mikado fabric. I first of all marked the wrong side of the fabric. After that, I folded it into two. I folded the whole 4 yards into two this way. I pin it down. After pinning, take to your ironing table and give it a good press. After ironing, you will place it on fold. Then from the folded edge, you will split it into two. So we have both the front and the back bodies on fold. Next, you will roll your starting line. You will remove the upper fabric, which is the back bodies. Then from the folded edge, the one on the table is the front bodies. I marked 1.5 inches. I marked it straight down. That's the front bodies. After marking 1.5 inches, I ruled that into a straight line. Next, I'm going to place the back bodies on the straight line and pin it down. The folded edge of the back bodies, I place it on the 1.5 inches mark and I pin it down. All my measurements will be starting from the back bodies, not the front bodies. Neck width, I marked 3.5 inches. Neck depth for the back 1 inch. Neck depth for the front, I marked 8 inches. Neck depth for the front is V shape, while the back is round shape. From the center back to the sleeve length, I marked 25 inches. At that point, I marked 2 inches for the shoulder slope and I connect it to the neck width. For my sleeve opening, I measured 13 inches. From my shoulder to my hip line is 25 inches. Shoulder to my knee length is 42 inches. And the gown length is 65 inches, including hemming allowance. Please note, you can adjust the measurement to your preference. This is just a guideline. I rule a straight line across the hip line and the knee line. On my knee line, I impute my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 3 inches. On the hem, I impute the same measurement. The total measurement that I have is 16 inches and I rule that into a straight line. On the sleeve opening, I came in by 4 inches. Then from my hip line to my knee length, I find the midpoint. I marked it. I ruled my measurement up to the midpoint. Then from the sleeve opening, I'm going to draw different cowl shape. This is the first one. If you don't want your cowl shape to be too big around the hip area, this is the second. If you want it to stop on the knee line, then this is the third. If you want it to go below the knee. One thing about sewing is practical. You have to practice. You can buy cheap fabric to practice different types of cowl shape. All these drawings will give you different results. That is why you need to practice so that you will know the type of cowl shape you will want to sew for yourself or for your customer when they request for it. In my upcoming online course, I will be teaching different ways to draft cowl shape. Watch out for the flyer. You can also decide to have puff sleeve. So in case you want to have puff sleeve, this is what you will do. Just increase your sleeve opening to either 16 inches or 20 inches. Then if it's 16 inches, just draw your cowl shape from the end of the sleeve opening. If it's 20 inches, draw your cowl shape from the end of the 20 inches, just like I've shown you. So that is if you want to have a puff sleeve. Just practice with different measurements. It is when you practice you will get better at it. So before cutting it out, I added seam allowance to the shoulder. Then I cut out the back neckline first, the shoulder slope from the seam allowance. So I'll be going with the first cowl shape. After cutting, I remove the back bodies and continue with the front bodies. So I marked the neck depth again on the front bodies and I cut out the neckline. Next, from my shoulder, I measure to where I want the slit opening to start from, in front. After that, I split the folded edge into two. The folded edge of the front bodice, I split it into two. Next is to cut facing for the necklines. So from the leftover fabric, I use it to cut facing for the necklines. I cut facing for the back neckline too. After cutting the facing, I'll iron extend to it and use it to turn the necklines. I have this leftover damask fabric from my previous project, so I decided to cut out band for the sleeve, and I also cut out this little piece of fabric to make a design in front. This is absolutely optional. You can use any measurement of your choice. I just cut out a simple design for the front. For the band height, I measured 3 inches on fold. Then the length is the length of the sleeve opening. I have ironed edge stitch to the facing for the front and the back neckline. So this is how the front looks like. I'm going to place the facing to the right side of the front bodice, and I will sew with 1/2 inch following the shape of the front. After that, I will notch it. After notching, I will top stitch the facing. After turning the neckline with facing for the front bodice, you know the front bodice is splitted into two, so you will place them together, right side facing each other. From the neckline, you will join them together. You will sew from the 1.5 inches mark. You will sew it, and when you get to where you mark for your slit opening, where the slit is going to start from, you will stop there and you will back stitch about 3 to 4 times. After that, the edge of the 1.5 inches, you will overlock it. After you overlock, then you will take to your ironing table and give it a good press, just like the way I'm doing so. As you are ironing, you will place hemming gum underneath it so that it's going to lay nice and flat on the fabric. As you can see, the way mine is, the slit opening is laying nice and flat. It is because I placed hemming gum underneath it. So this is the design that I cut out from the leftover damask that I have. I've folded the edges with 1/2 inch and I've ironed it. So what I'm doing right now, I'm placing hemming gum underneath it where I want it to be. I will place hemming gum underneath it and iron it so that when I'm top stitching on the fabric, it's not going to be moving around. It's going to stay in place. So you first of all place hemming gum underneath the design and iron it very well. When you iron it very well, the design will stick to the fabric. Then you will take to your sewing machine and top stitch the design on the fabric. So after ironing, you take to your sewing machine, you top stitch the design on the fabric following the shape that you have on your design. At this point, I've joined the bodies together, that is the front and the back bodies together. I've joined it together on the shoulder. Next that I'm doing, I'm sewing the band to the edge of the sleeve opening. After that, I'll overlock it. Next is to sew the sides. After that, we'll open up the seam, give it a good press, overlock the edges, hem the down part, and that's about it for today's tutorial. This is the final look, guys. We've come to the end of today's tutorial. If you find my tutorial helpful, please give me a thumbs up so that more people will get to see the tutorial, and subscribe to my channel down below if you've not done so. I upload weekly tutorial on my channel. Also remember to click the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified. Until I come your way next, please stay safe and remain blessed. Thanks for watching. I love you all. Bye for now.